Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Saints UK YouTube channel. Joining me this week, as always, is everybody's favourite Welshman, Mr. Ash Pimble. Ash, how you doing?
I like that. Everyone's favourite Welshman. I like that.
Well, it's a fact. It's a fact, mate. It's a fact.
It is, yeah.
How many people have you got following you on your Twitter fan account?
What's it? I don't know.
It's over 2,000, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. 2,740.
There you go. 2,740 people think you're ace.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And this video couldn't have come at a greater time because my wife's about 6 feet over there wrapping Christmas presents. So this is a great time to do the video.
Oh dear. And how is your wife, Ash? I'll ask as you just said she's on.
Yeah, you all right, love?
I'm really well, thank you.
There you go.
There we go. A bit of a female voice on the channel for a change.
Yep.
Right. So this is going to be slightly happier than last time because obviously last Sunday we won.
We did.
We won, and we won fairly easily.
Yep.
Fairly easily.
It was a completely different team that played against the Falcons. It's, like I said to you, that I was concerned with our secondary, the fact that Lattimore was out, and I was concerned about that. If Jameis had enough time and air the ball to Michael Evans and air the ball to Godwin, that could be our downfall. But fair dues to Apple, fair dues to Williams, both Williams. And fair dues to the entire secondary and the defense. They were brilliant.
Yeah, it was. It was very much. The offense were efficient. I'd say they weren't spectacular. Kamara was more back to what we would expect. Michael Thomas, but we didn't need the offense to really push themselves last week because I think the defense had it covered. Was it 4 turnovers, 4 interceptions? Yeah. Jameis Winston was being pressured everywhere. It was just a really, really good performance after the shambles of the week before.
Oh, definitely. And if there's anything that I would be my play of the game was the Jairus Cook touchdown. What hands he had, in the end zone against the Bucks, and it was just like, it was amazing. It's like finally, Jared Cook is come to the player that we know that he can be. Michael Thomas is just getting better and better each week. Breeze is getting back to being Breeze, and of course, and Kamara's got rid of his little niggles, and he's been coming back as well. So now that we're starting to see the offense, we're starting to see the offense, pull their weight, not just the defense. So it's good to see.
It is.
Especially coming into the second half of the season as well, especially with the next couple of divisional games we got coming. You've got that game against the Niners as well, so it's a good time for us to start hitting our stride.
Yeah, no, it is, and with Jared Cook looking more like the player we thought we were getting, and Alvin Kamara coming back to fitness, I think that's going to alleviate some of the concerns that some fans have about our offensive options at wide receiver. Yeah. Our Michael Thomas is wide receiver 1, and then after that, Kamara and Cook are going to be your second and third options.
Yeah, well, it's like it's like you said on the podcast is, say Breeze throws the ball for like 40 times in the game. Thomas would get say 15 of them. Jared Cook would get, say, 10 of them. Kamara would get 10 of them, and then 5 odd balls into whoever else is on the field. So, I would still like a second wide receiver to come in, but I think that was just because of the way we played against the Falcons and we got showed up against the Falcons. But of course, if Thomas Cook and Kamara can do what they've done last week for the rest of the remainder of the games plus playoffs, touch wood we get there because you never know, and then we'll be all right until come next season.
Yeah, and You say the playoffs will come on to the NFC playoff race after we've done a preview of the game. But you're right. It's the options we have. I mean, think about it. We've got we'll go over this quickly, but we've got Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Jared Cook, Taysom Hill, Ted Ginn, Traquan Smith, Keith Kirkwood, should he come back from his injury in the next couple of weeks, Josh Hill, Latavius Murray. That's enough. That's enough options on the offense.
It is more than enough.
So, I like you, an extra wide receiver would be good. We're just not going to get that now at this point of the season where we are. So,
no.
So on to this week. Home to the Carolina Panthers at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Another nice early start for us before we probably have a run of 3 late games in a row. Obviously, Falcons on Thursday night. Yep. I think the 49ers game is going to be flexed to a later kickoff.
I think it'd be dependent on what happens with them and the Packers this week.
Yeah, and definitely the Indianapolis game is on a Monday night anyway. So, we might have 3 late games in a row. But Carolina at home. 3 weeks ago, I was concerned that Carolina were hot on our heels and could run us close for the division. Obviously, they now sit at 5-5.
Yeah.
They've fallen off a cliff a little bit, and that coincides with Kyle Allen falling off a cliff, I guess, would probably be a better way to put it. Obviously, Cam Newton is done for the year. He's on injured reserve, so they've got to ride with Kyle Allen for the rest of the season. I'm less concerned about this game now than I was 3 weeks ago. I think we've got more than enough to beat the Panthers. We're a better team. Their offense runs through one player and one player only. And I think it is McCaffrey. And I think if we stop him, then we could win quite easily. What do you think?
I agree with you on what you're saying, but there's one thing that I'm concerned with, and that is the Panthers' defensive line. Currently, they're tied most with the most sacks, in the season. I don't know who they tied with, but I know they're well up there. I think they got like 39 sacks so far this season. And my concern is if the offensive line of the Falcons game shows up, then Breeze is going to have a hard time staying on his feet and not being put on his back by the defensive line of the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
If the offensive line that showed up last week turns up again, then I got no issues. I got no concerns at all. The only thing that could be a threat to our offense would be that defensive line of the Panthers. Okay. Whereas with the Panthers offense, it's like we said on the podcast, you shut down McCaffrey, that's it, they're done.
And you've got to shut him down, mind. He is on pace to have one of the best seasons for a running back of all time. We talk about Michael Thomas and he's on pace for one of the best receiving. Christian McCaffrey is on pace to have one of the best seasons from the running back perspective in terms of yards from scrimmage, catches and runs. So, stopping him is not going to be easy.
No, it's not going to be easy, but I do think that we can. It's the defense kept Carson quiet. They kept Letty Freeman for the Falcons quiet. I think he will get yards. Don't get me wrong, he will get yards, but I think that we can stop him from getting, because obviously if he breaks through that defensive line and the linebackers, then obviously he's going to gain loads of yards. Whereas if we can shut him down early and only constrain him to 5-6 yards of carry, then I think we'll be fine. I really do think we'll be fine. But I think Dennis Allen will have a game plan for him, and as long as we can shut him down, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. Their receivers aren't great. They got Curtis Samuel, they've got DJ Moore. Am I missing anybody? I might be. I'm not sure. This is the type of game where you almost want to say to the Panthers, right, here you go, we're going to take away McCaffrey and his ability to transform a game. Kyle Allen, over to you.
Yeah.
Make Kyle Allen be the one that beats you. And I think, Dennis Allen's having a tremendous season as defensive coordinator. He's going to figure out a way to put the game in Kyle Allen's hands.
I think that this game is going to be won in the trenches. It's going to be offensive line, against a defensive line for both teams. If like I said, if the Panthers' defensive line gets hot and the Saints' offensive line doesn't, that could spell trouble. And on the flip side is if we can contain the offensive line and stop them making holes up for McCaffrey, we'll be fine. So I reckon this game could be won in the trenches, and see which team makes a mistake first.
And I think we've got the offensive line and the defensive line to win.
Yeah,
those battles. I think you made a very good point. We've got to hope that the offensive line from last week shows up, not the offensive line from the Falcons game.
Yeah, that is my only concern, is how well our offensive line stacks up against the Panthers' defensive line. I'm not worried about the linebackers. I'm not worried about the Panthers' secondary. It is those 5 or 6, 7 men that are in that line that could cause problems for Breeze and Co. That's the only thing I'm concerned about with the Panthers. Yeah.
Okay, so what's your score prediction?
What did I say on the pod? I said 42-12.
I think did you not know it was Ben that matched last week's score, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he said 34-17, didn't he? Yeah.
I think I said something like 42-12.
So they're not getting in the end zone then.
I'm gonna go a little bit closer to home now that I've had to think about it, and now that I've had a look at who's potentially starting to come tomorrow afternoon. I'm gonna go with the Saints 28, Panthers 14.
Okay, I think the Saints are going to top 40 points tomorrow. I really do. I mean, the Panthers' defense is good, but I think you're going to see the Saints now hitting a groove. We've got 3 big games in a row. We win the next 2, we've won the NFC South.
Yep.
So, I think the Saints are going to win 42-17. 42-17 tomorrow is my prediction. There you go. Last time I went that bold with a prediction, it didn't go very well, did it? So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that's not the case this week.
Well, we'll wait and see, because I keep saying it every week. The good thing is with 6 p.m. games for if American people are watching is the games over here finish about 9:30, possibly 10 o'clock, depending how long a game it goes. And if it's a 3:25 game, it's 9:25 over here. It's gone midnight by this time, and if it's such a close game, the adrenaline's kicking in. It's got to take you an hour to calm down before you go to bed. So I like 6 p.m. 12 o'clock games. I
do too. Well, like I said, the next game for us is the Falcons on Thanksgiving on Thursday night.
Yeah. I've booked that day off as well.
Yeah, I've got the Friday off. The game starts at 1:20 in the morning. Yeah. So any American fans who are listening into this, think of us when that game's going on. It's 8 o'clock for you, 8:20 for you in the evening. It's 1:20 a.m. for us on a Friday morning. And Ash and myself have booked days off work the following day so we can stay up and watch the Saints hopefully beat the Falcons this time.
Well, that's it. It's like, obviously, normally I don't book Thursday night games off, but this one is a little bit more special because, one, we could beat the Falcons and pay them back from what they did to us a couple of weeks back. But not only that, the fact is I can watch. If we win the game in Atlanta, we clinch the title as well, and then I'll be on Fanatics and ordering my NFC South winners T-shirt.
Yeah, three in a row.
Yep, 3 in a row.
First time the Saints have ever. Well, the Saints have never won 2 in a row before last season. So But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We need to win this week first.
Yeah, let's get the Panthers out the way, and then we focus on Falcon Hate Week.
We can.
Yeah.
Right. So the second topic we're going to discuss this week is the NFC playoff picture, where it currently stands, and where we think it's going to end up. So currently, you've got the 49ers at 9-1 in the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers are at 8-2 and in the 2nd seed. We are 8-2 and in the 3rd seed. Then you have the Seahawks, who are 8-2. No, sorry, I've missed the 4th. No, sorry, the Cowboys are the 4th seed at 6-4. The Seahawks are the 5th seed at 8-2, and then the Vikings at 8-3 are the 6th seed. We are the 3rd seed, based on the fact that the Packers have got a better conference record than we have.
Yeah.
Or is it divisional record? I can never remember. It's one of them. But basically, this week we need the 49ers to beat the Packers on Sunday night.
Yeah,
we do.
We do.
Because then we control our own destiny then.
Yeah, because we spoke about it last week that, due to the shot loss against the Panthers, that we need now to win out. It's win
the
out.
The Falcons, you mean?
Yeah, where we lost against the Falcons, we have to win out now. Hopefully, the 49ers do the business and beat the Packers, and then when we go play them, we have to beat them, and then that way we can go to the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
So, but regardless of what happens with the 49ers and Packers, we have to win out regardless now. So even if the Packers do beat the 49ers, pardon me, and we still have to beat the 49ers, even if it's got to clinch, the 2 seed. We have to win out for that bye week, ready for the divisional round. It's got to be.
You do. So as it stands now, currently, wildcard weekend, the Saints would host the Vikings, and the Cowboys would host the Seahawks. Okay? And obviously the 49ers would be the 1 seed, the Packers would be the 2 seed. So looking ahead towards the end of the season, where do you think, or who is the 6 playoff teams set now, or can you see a team sneaking into the playoffs that are currently outside? And if you got your order, if you've got your 6 teams, who's playing who, and where do they sit in the seedings, in your opinion, when you get to the end of the season?
Well, the teams are in the hunt to go into the playoff picture. There's one team that I can think that can sneak into the playoff picture, and that would be the Eagles. Because the NFC East is absolute trash in the NFC, but I can see the Eagles winning that division now.
The Cowboys would have to lose 3 games now between now and the end of the season for that to happen, and the Eagles would have to,
Well, the Eagles are what? They're 5-5.
Yeah,
so they're 5-5 now, right?
But the Cowboys have the tiebreaker over them because they've beaten them.
Yeah, but they got them in week 17 as well.
Yeah, they have, but it may not matter by then. That's what I mean. The Cowboys have got to lose.
Well, Dallas is good. Well, this is what the Dallas has got left. They got the Pats, the Bills, the Bears, the Rams, the Eagles, and the Skins.
Okay. I didn't realize that their schedule remaining was quite as tough as it was.
Yeah, they got the Pats in week 12, the Bills in 13, Bears at 14, Rams at 15, Eagles at 16, Skins at 17. The Eagles have got the Seahawks, the Dolphins, the Giants, the Skins, the Cowboys, and Giants to finish.
So, right, here we go then. So just
on that schedule, based on that schedule that's remaining, that's why I'm thinking that the Eagles will be a sneaky pick.
No, that's a good shout.
Go above the Cowboys and sneak into the 4th seed as the NFC East.
Yeah, so just going through those fixtures then, right? So the Cowboys are playing the Patriots this week, and that's in New England, isn't it?
Yep.
They're not going to win that.
Nope.
Then they're playing the Bills.
Yep, and that could go either way.
The Bills are sneaky good this year. Defensively, they're unbelievable.
Yep.
Then who else did you say? Who else have the Cowboys got to play?
You got the Bears in week 14.
No, the Bears are done this year, I think. So that's a Cowboys win.
Then they got the Rams, then they got the Eagles, and then they got the Skins.
Okay, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility that the Cowboys go 2-4 for the remainder of the season.
Yeah.
Which would make them 8-8.
Yeah.
So let's go through the Eagles then.
With the Eagles, the only team that I can see them losing to is obviously the Seahawks, and then they can beat. They'll obviously. I tournament wins for the Dolphins, the 2 Giants games, the Skins, and the Cowboys.
So that's 10 and 6. So that's 10 and 6 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Now, I think or thought until you went through those fixtures, or maybe should have looked at this, that the 6 that are in the playoffs now are going to be the 6 that are there at the end of the season. But now you've said that, I can see the Eagles sneaking into the 4th seed.
Yeah, I can. Because when you had said that we'll do the race to the playoffs, and I was thinking, right, okay, what team could potentially sneak in? And I was like, well, the Panthers are 5-5, the Rams are 6-4. But looking at all those, the Rams, Eagles, and the Panthers, the Eagles remaining games stood out to me, and I thought, you know what, they could be the team that could win the East and then go into the playoffs.
Yeah, no. So I'm just going to call it now, and this may come back to bite me come week 17. The Rams, done.
Yeah, they're not going.
Not making the playoffs. The Seahawks and the 49ers are clearly better than them this year. The Rams not going to make it. So yeah, I think the 4th seed could be the interesting one between the Cowboys and the Eagles. And looking at the respective records of what you've just done there, I might change my mind and I might put the Eagles in the 4th seed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good shout. So let's go through it then. In your opinion, who's the 1 seed?
I don't. It's not an emotional pick. It is, and it's not just because I'm being a Saints fan, but I truly believe that regardless of what happens with the 49ers and the Packers, I can see the Saints beating the 49ers. We win out for the rest of the season, and we get number 1. Then I can see it being the Packers at number 2.
Yeah.
Then it'd be the 49ers at 3, the Eagles at 4, and the Seahawks and Vikings at 5 and 6.
And would it be the Seahawks at 5 and the Vikings at 6, or?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Seahawks at 5, Seahawks at 5, Vikings at 6.
Yeah. See, now you said that it might be a Saints bias that they're going to be the number 1 seed. I agree with you. I've thought that it was going to be the Cowboys at the 4 seed instead of the Eagles, but I'm wavering on that one now. I genuinely think we're going to get the 1 seed. The 49ers are going to beat the Packers this week because the 49ers defense is a good matchup for the way that the Packers play. The Packers play on offense. But then we will beat the 49ers in 2 weeks' time. I also think we're going to win out and we're going to be 14-2 because I think we're going to have to play the last game of the season properly this time to make sure.
Yeah, we're going to have to. We're going to have to because I think that there's going to be too much, coming up towards this season. We finished the season on 13-3, by which time by week 17 we'd already got the number 1 seed.
It was sewn up the week before. It was sewn up the week before.
But I think it's going to be far too close come week 17.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those things where we're going to have Red Zone on the one channel and we're going to have the Saints game on the other. We'll be watching what those teams are playing like, and we'll be swapping back and forth screens just to see how right, we need the 49ers to lose on the week 17. We need to win our game, and you'll be one eye on that TV, one eye on the other.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it's going to come down to, mate, to be honest with
you. Yeah. So, final records. Saints, 14-2.
Yep.
Packers, 13-3. 49ers, 11-5.
Yep.
Or maybe 12-4. Don't know. The Seahawks are going to be 11-5.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles are going to be 10-6.
Yep.
The Vikings are going to be either 10-6 or 11-5. And then that is it, isn't it? That's the playoffs. Yep. So you will have the Eagles hosting the Seahawks and the 49ers hosting the Vikings.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that scenario, pick your winners to go through to the divisionals. So you've got the Seahawks. Sorry, I'm going to have to go through this again. The Seahawks at the Eagles and the Vikings at the 49ers.
with the 49ers at home, I'd pick them to go into the divisional. I'd say it'd be the 49ers over the Vikings. And I'd go Seahawks over the Eagles.
Okay, so that would mean that the Seahawks. So that means then that the Seahawks would come to the Dome,
mm-hmm.
and the 49ers would go to Lambeau.
Yeah.
Pick your winners.
Okay. We already beat the Seahawks once, and I reckon we can do it again in our own stadium. So
we beat them in their place with Teddy Bridgewater.
Exactly. And we did.
Russell Wilson scares me, though.
But he scared us when we went there in CenturyLink, and look what happened.
True.
So I honestly think that we'd have the advantage in the Dome. If
Yeah.
it was at CenturyLink, maybe a bit. It might be a bit different.
But it's not going to be so.
No, it'd be in the Dome. So I'd say it'd be advantageous, and I'd go with us.
Yeah.
As far as the 49ers and the Packers are concerned,
depends on the weather. Yeah,
it depends on the weather, because if it's snowing and cold, the 49ers haven't got a chance, because obviously they play in Santa Clara, a sunny state. They don't do the cold very well, but then not many teams that go up to Lambeau, in this, November, December, January, they don't play that well because of how cold it is.
Yeah.
You got the whatever degree it is, plus you got the wind chill as well. So I'd say it'd be a Packers Saints conference game.
Okay.
And it would be the Saints beating the Packers. Cameron Jordan smacking Aaron Rodgers into the ground, which I would love so much. And then the Saints head to Miami to face probably the Patriots.
Right, okay. I agree with everything you said, apart from who we're going to face in the Super Bowl.
Right, okay.
We're going to be facing Mark Ingram in the Super Bowl, mate.
Do you reckon?
Yep. The Ravens are. I mean, they're going to LA on Monday, so it's going to be a big test for them on the road. But they average 55 yards per game more than any other team rushing this season. They average at 200.
That's with Ingram and the Jackson model.
202 yards a game, average yards for them. The next closest is, I think, San Francisco or Minnesota, who average 148 or 149. I can't remember. I heard a stat on a podcast I was listening to on Friday. But yeah, no, we agree pretty much on the route for the playoffs. Obviously, I had the Cowboys instead of the Eagles, but as soon as you mentioned the record, the games that are coming up, it's like, yeah, no, the Eagles are probably going to win that division. Yeah. So
I like I said, when I was looking at it and thinking, well, the Eagles could be sneakily good. To be honest with you, I'd rather face the Patriots in Miami rather than the Ravens. But then on the flip side, Dennis Allen and Sean Payton know what Mark Ingram is like, and they could make a game plan for him. I think, if anything, not only that, you got Willie Snead as well. That's a former Saint player as well. So I would rather. Oh, I don't know. Would I rather the Patriots or would I rather the Ravens? That's a tasty one.
Do you know what, mate? I'm very much of the opinion that if we're in the Super Bowl, I don't care who we're playing, because the NFC is better than the AFC.
Oh yeah, it is. It's more stacked than.
But it is a one-off game. It is a one-off game. So we'll worry about that when we get there. When we get there. Not if. When we get there.
Yeah.
Okay. Right then. So the final thing we're going to discuss this week is a poll I put out on Twitter, on the website Twitter account today. So, taking out Michael Thomas, who I think deserves to be the MVP this year. He's putting up record numbers. So, taking Saints players out of the equation, who do you think so far this season is the NFL MVP? So let me just go through. On the poll. I could only put 4 people on the poll today. Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, and Aaron Rodgers. Now, I was torn on the last one.
What did you put him on there for?
I was torn. The only reason I did is because he's 4th in the odds for MVP at the moment. That's the only reason I put him in there. I nearly put Dak Prescott instead. I very nearly put Dak Prescott instead. But the results, so we had 112 votes, which in 12 hours is not bad.
Yeah.
In 4th place, with 4% of the votes, and whoever voted for him needs their head examined, if you ask me, because he's not the MVP this year. It's Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
In 3rd place, with 8% of the vote, was Christian McCaffrey, which surprised me. I thought he might be a bit higher. In 2nd place, with 28% of the vote, was Russell Wilson, which again surprised me. I thought he would have more than that. And the winner in an absolute landslide, 61% of the 112 votes, was Lamar Jackson. What are your thoughts?
Well, again, it's when it was a toss-up between Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson for MVP.
Yeah.
I went Lamar Jackson for the fact that they played each other in week 7 of this season, and obviously the Ravens took the W against the Seahawks.
Yeah.
That's so. Don't get me wrong; they're both playing extremely well this year, but because obviously those two matched up in week 7, and the Ravens got the win, I'm just pipping Lamar Jackson, above Wilson in the MVP race for that game and that game alone. And of course, the two of them are still playing incredibly well after that.
Yeah.
After that week 7 game.
Yeah.
But Lamar Jackson to me would hold the tiebreak over those two in the MVP race.
Okay, so you know my feelings about Lamar Jackson. If anybody has listened to the UK Saints podcast for the past 2 years, you'll know that the draft 2 years ago, and I even called it the night before the draft, that the Saints were going to trade with the Green Bay Packers to select Lamar Jackson. And on draft night, the Saints traded picks with Green Bay Packers, but they didn't pick Lamar Jackson. Obviously, we picked Davenport.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not unhappy with how that's gone, but that's a conversation for another time. I thought Lamar Jackson would be almost unstoppable with Sean Payton. Okay. However, in this vote, I voted for Russell Wilson. Now, again, if you listen to the UK Saints podcast, I think 2 years ago, I had a feeling that Russell Wilson may end up a Saints quarterback one day because Sean Payton absolutely loves him. Now, he signed a new contract, so it's probably not going to happen now that's the case.
The thing is, when you draft quarterbacks to the team and you produce, and obviously he's produced Seattle with the Super Bowl as well, I think he's going to be a one-team quarterback, and he will retire as a Seahawk.
No, I think he will now. Yes, I do. But there was stories coming that he was unhappy with the direction the team was going in. They weren't.
There's always been reports that Sean Payton. There's always been reports that Sean Payton was going to Dallas.
No, true. No, but true. But he, he nearly held out. They didn't offer him the money that he wanted. And they made a deal, and they got a deal done. But one of the replies to the poll I put out from Ross Sutherland. Now I don't know if Ross would watch this, but thanks for getting in touch and saying. But he says, and this is a really good point. He said the Jackson narrative is based on big moments and wow plays. He'll win it solely because of the highlight reel. Based on performance alone and being clutch, it's Russell Wilson all day long. And that's exactly what I agree with. Russell Wilson has been brilliant this year, but Lamar Jackson has the wow plays. He has runs of 60 yards, and it's just it all depends on what the voters define as the most valuable player. Breeze should have won MVP in 2009 above Peyton Manning. We all know that. we all know that he should have won it in 2011 above Aaron Rodgers. The only thing that stopped him that was that the Packers went 15-1 that year.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, no, I know. The fact that Breeze has never won MVP is a joke. We all appreciate that. We all appreciate that. But Super Bowl 44 MVP is all right with me.
That's fine. Yeah, definitely.
That's fine.
And he's gonna have Super Bowl 54 as well. So.
Well, exactly.
Funny, yeah.
Yeah, so it is 54.
I was just thinking, hang on a minute. No, it's 53 last year. Yeah, no,
it's 50. It's 54. It's 54. But yeah, I think it probably will be Lamar Jackson because of his highlight reel, but I think it should be Russell Wilson. That's my feeling.
I honestly think it's going to be it should be Michael Thomas.
Yeah, but this is non-Saints related. Remember, we all think it's going to be Michael Thomas.
But then it's going to Ross Sutherland's point that Lamar Jackson's doing the wow plays and the highlight reels. Well, that's only because he is a mobile quarterback. He's not a pocket passer. He's a mobile quarterback.
Russell Wilson's a mobile quarterback too.
Yeah, but he doesn't do it as Lamar Jackson does it more than Jackson does it more. Running the ball and trying to get the first down more than what Russell Wilson does.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a question for you then. So obviously, I wanted the Saints to draft Lamar Jackson. I'm gutted we didn't. However, the Ravens have, and he plays the game in a very specific way.
Right.
How long can Lamar Jackson play as an NFL quarterback in that scheme with that, look at what it did to Cam Newton. Cam Newton's broken and he's 31. Can Lamar Jackson have a 10-year plus NFL career being the mobile quarterback? Can he?
If he stays healthy and he doesn't get too many bad knocks, then yes, he can. Obviously, with Cam Newton, he has had quite a few hits on him. And it's only going to be a matter of time that defenses figure it out. So the way he's playing now and the way the defense is, I say yes, but using an example of the Rams last year, he's an offensive genius, blah 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 blah. But defenses have figured them out, and obviously now look where they are. They're in the toilet. It's a yes and no. It all depends. It's like if he goes through the amount of if he gets the same sort of hits like Cam Newton has had, then no, he won't have a 10-year career. He'll be broken just like Newton is. So it all depends on his health and how healthy he can be, and if he doesn't, obviously if he's running for a 10-yard, if he's running for a first down, and you've got a cornerback or one of the linebackers absolutely smashing him into the ground, and he has like 3 or 4 of them a game, then no, he won't have a 10+ season. It all depends on how hard he gets hit.
I think you made the point that I was going to get to afterwards, and that is next year he is not going to be as effective because teams will have a whole year of tape on him. So the Ravens have got this year, I think, to win the Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. Yeah. They've got this year because next year, I mean, look, Patrick Mahomes, I know he got injured, but he's kind of been figured out a bit this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has. I mean, he's still really good. Don't get me wrong. He's still really good. And the Chiefs, if they sort themselves out, could be dangerous in the AFC.
Yeah.
But, I think this time next year, there's going to be a very different conversation about Lamar Jackson. He's going to need to develop the in-the-pocket passing. And he can do it because he is doing both. He is doing both. But do you know what? At the moment, because they're in the AFC, I love watching Ravens games. I really do. Because, Mark Ingram's great. We love Mark Ingram, don't we? What we don't love is his agent. We don't love Mark Ingram's agent. But we love Mark Ingram.
Do we have to speak about Ingram? Because I've been really, really good not swearing on this.
Okay, I'll end.
We'll get into it, and it's starting to the rage is starting to build up.
Right, okay, that's fine. That's fine. You can save that rage for a podcast, Ash. We're not going to do it on YouTube.
Listen, I'm really being good, not trying to swear on this thing, but it's every time that his agent or Mark Ingram is not playing in the black and gold, and we know what happened with his agent.
It's infuriating, mate. It is infuriating. I agree. I agree. Right. That seems to me like a really good point to end it before you get any angrier.
I'm being that good. I'm not even having a cigarette on here either. I'm really trying to be really good.
I know. So, and every week we just chat more, and the videos get longer and longer.
How long have you been on this one then?
35 minutes, I think. 35 minutes, yeah. We said when we started doing this, it was going to be 20 minutes maximum, didn't we?
Well, if anything, my wife's still wrapping presents, so the longer we go on, yeah.
Apologies if you heard me.
Sorry. No, I haven't heard a thing.
Because she keeps looking at me every time she pulls, uses the sellotape. She's just like, saying, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" And she's just been cracking on.
No, not heard a thing.
I'll give her an A+ for her rapping skills.
Good.
So, but yeah.
Good.
Panthers tomorrow. Let's get another win.
Panthers tomorrow. Let's get another win. Let's go to 9-2, and let's be one game away from sealing the division. And then we'll get ready for a very, very short Falcons hate week.
Yeah.
Now, we may need to record before Thursday night. We may need to, so we'll figure that out in the week, because obviously we've got to fit a podcast in as well. So we may just do the podcast and then do a review next weekend. Yeah. We'll see how we get on. So right, mate, I think that's it for tonight. So thanks everybody for tuning in and watching us. Again, as always, like, subscribe, share. We're up to 69 subscribers. Good number. I think it was 69 when I checked today. Might be 66, maybe.
I thought it was 66 last time.
Was it? I might be wrong. I might have just had that number on my mind for some reason. I don't know why. Giggity. Yeah, giggity.
66. Come on,
66. Yeah, 66 subscribers. Come on. We want to get up to 100 subscribers as quickly as possible. So share.
Subscribers by New Year's, that'd be epic.
Yeah. So like, subscribe, share, feedback. Give us any feedback you want, good or bad. We're big boys. We can accept it. So
we're thick-skinned.
We are thick-skinned.
But thank you to everyone that watches this.
Yes.
We do it just for entertainment value. So it's all
good. We do. Right. Say who dat, Ash.
Right. Who dat. Good night.
Who dat, everyone. Good night.